Welcome back. Welcome back to Living in Mexico. I'm Ana Maria Salazar. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, this weekend we have a treat. Now, many of you are going to say we've had this treat every weekend since since the show started, which was what, 20 years ago? Well, joining us today live and for a very long interview is Mariana. Mariana, it is so great to see you. You and I have been doing this show every weekend, and we just don't talk enough. I did not realize that you were about to publish this book, which is the Crónicas Mariana, right? What is it? Crónicas Marianas, is that correct? Or it's
Yeah.
Mariana's Chronicles, and it's about the life of a single woman in the big city. It sounds like a TV show to me. Welcome to the show. Tell us about your new book.
Well, first of all, Ana Maria, I'm very happy as always to be in your show. And it's been 20 years and we
I
see each other
know,
sometimes. And every time we talk together, we were together again. It's like yesterday. So
I
I'm
know.
very thankful and very happy to be your friend and to work with you. And yeah, you talked about a single woman in the big city. They have a lot more sex than me.
I mean, that's in reference to Sex in the City, which is this very famous TV show in the United States from the 1990s. I mean, they've had like reruns, and now they have like the latest, these older women
Yeah, yeah.
pretending that they're having sex in the city. But your book is about being a single woman.
It's about being a single woman trying to find a relationship. I've had long relationships and stuff, but I've never been married. I don't
Mhm.
have kids. So sometimes I think, well, what am I? And people get a bit anxious
You're a
because
happy person.
exactly.
What are you? You're a happy person. You're not married. You don't have kids. I mean, for some people, that sounds really good.
Yeah, for some people, it's I have friends that tell me, "Oh, I wish I had your life." Some of them tell me, "Oh, you never got married, you don't have kids, you're so lonely," and sometimes I am, Ana Maria. Sometimes I wish I had. Not a husband, maybe, but somebody who calls me and says, "I'll pick you up and let's go grab dinner, or
Right, right,
let's go have a
right.
drink." Sometimes I wish I had, and sometimes I just say, "Oh my God, this whole afternoon is for me." And
Right. And you don't have to worry about any or pick up kids or, have a fight at home. Yeah, I have to say I've been married, divorced, and I have two kids. And it's just a different lifestyle. It's the way you use your time. But the book kind of outlines some of your very particular adventures, Mariana adventures, we should call them. So give us a sense. Tell us about some of your adventures that you narrate in this book.
well, the book starts with a chronicle about when I was around 10 years old, and I was brave enough to go. My parents asked me if I wanted to go to a camp in
Hmm.
Canada, and
Hmm.
for 2 months. I was going to be away from home for 2 months, and I said yes. And a lot of my friends or my sister actually said, "Don't you even think about it because I'm not going from home 2 months." And I said yes. And it starts with this like opening my scenery to different people and to different music, and that's where I learned about a guy called Willie Nelson because "We
Right.
Are the World," the song,
We are the
was
world.
exactly. And and for the last like musical evening, they told us we had to dress as the guys from We Are the World. So everybody wanted to be Michael Jackson
Of course.
or Bruce Springsteen, and
Right, of
the
course.
girls,
Right.
we wanted to be Tina Turner or Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
but our counselor saw me and said, "No, you're going to be Willie Nelson because you have a great long hair." So she made two braids in my hair, put a bandana and a shirt, and
What
I
about the
learned the line.
beard? I mean, what about the beard? Doesn't Willie
Well,
know?
yeah.
That's so funny. That must have did it traumatize you, or just kind of was a beginning of a very interesting way of, very different way of seeing the world?
That was it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know who Willie Nelson was, but the other counselors stared at me and said, "Oh, great, you're Willie!" And I was a sensation. And then I started to listen when I came back to Mexico to country music, and then hence my favorite singers, Bob Dylan, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, and stuff. So that was in a way a beginning. And you know, Ana Maria, that I've been working in radio shows
Right.
of music for a long time. It has a lot of musical references of my likes and my favorite bands and singers.
Mhm.
Also, yes, I like being single sometimes, but sometimes you think I'm gonna die alone, and I live by myself. So you
Oh my
think,
God.
if I fall in the shower, is anybody gonna be aware of my death and stuff? So I get very nervous too. So it's a
Well,
bit
if that's what
neurotic.
worries you, you're in a good place. You know what I mean? It's so strange because I was single living I was single for a while living in Mexico City, and it's so strange because it's such a big city. There's so many
Yes,
people, and there's so much pressure to especially at different stages of your life to get married and
yes.
to have kids or to have to have some type of relationships or at least to have a family to go have lunch with. But the fascinating thing, what I always thought was fascinating about Mexico City is there's so many people here that one way or the other you end up linking with someone or some group. It's not like the smaller towns in Mexico where if you're a single woman, it's just like if you don't have family, then all your friends are married. It's just like, well, it's a little bit more difficult. But I love Mexico City for that because it's such a great place to live if you're single. You know what I mean? Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right, and there's a lot of options, and you can go and I mean, you can go out at all times and at noon, at the night, whatever.
Yeah.
There's always some place open and people there, and but then again, Ana Maria, there's a lot of people that are lonely too,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even though it is a big city,
Right.
sometimes it's a lot. Well, I have no one to go to go with or to go to, and but it's good too because I wanted to with this book to tell stories about being a loser sometimes and being lonely
Not a
and
loser.
not knowing what to do. And the few readers that I've had, they tell me, "Oh, I felt the same, or I
Yeah.
feel the same, and it's okay. O sea, this too will pass, you know." And
Uh-huh.
of course, there's a lot of humor, but there's a lot of sad moments too.
Right.
And I want to connect with people with those issues. I mean, being very happy, being free,
Right.
and also having your own crisis, and it's
Right.
okay.
Joining us today is Mariana H. You all know her extremely well. I mean, you have that very special voice. I'm sure that people stop you in the street, Mariana, when they hear your voice. She's been on the show for 20 years now, for more than 20 years now. We started
Yes.
living in Mexico, I believe, in 2004.
Okay.
And you were part of the show from the very, very beginning, always providing recommendations, suggestions, what to do on the weekends. And you have now published this book. Let's see this book for those of us who are watching us via YouTube. It's Mariana's Chronicles, Crónicas Marianas. So let me ask you this. Tell us let's start with the saddest thing in the book that you would like to share.
Well, there's two sad moments. One of them was a dear friend of mine who died,
Mm,
uh, and but I write about him because he was so fun. And actually, in those days that we were both very lonely, we shared a lot of things. I mean, he wasn't my boyfriend; he was my great friend.
great
And when
friend, yeah.
everybody, and we've all been there. All your friends now they have girlfriends or boyfriends, so they don't have a time for you to go and have a beer because they
Right,
are in love and they're watching a movie and eating popcorn, and you're like, what about me?
right.
And we were best friends, and then he got sick and he died, but I
Hmm.
had to in a way play tribute to him and his life and
Hmm.
his very crazy life. And I write about him, and I write about the years of the the pandemic
Oh my
and
gosh,
the
yeah.
people that we lost, the
Yeah,
freedom that we lost,
right.
and all our anxieties. So I
Hmm.
talk about that, and then about a friend that a lot of people know because he was a very famous singer. He was called Pau Donés, a band called Jarabe de Palo. They were very
Right.
famous. He was very
Hmm.
famous. And during the pandemic era, he died not about COVID, but cancer. So it was
Hmm.
very sad for all the people that we lost during that time. We
Right.
couldn't go to a funeral. We couldn't hug each other. And
Yeah.
that was very sad. So I think those two are the sad parts of this book. And I think people that can relate with that, and they also thank me sometimes that I
Hmm.
cried a bit, but it was good. I enjoyed in a way having this
Hmm.
catharsis with the story.
Right. Well, so those are the two of the saddest. I know you've had a lot of adventure adventures. I don't know how many of them you want to share on this show, but just kind of walk us through some of the stories or some of the adventures you chose to put in this book.
Yeah. For example, there was a crazy Sunday that I went with my friend Carlos Velázquez. He's from Torreón. He's a
Right.
writer, and he said, "Well, let's go to Lagunilla and Tepito,
Right.
and let's have lunch there, and
Mhm.
let's go and row." And we did, and it was amazing. We
Right.
met a lot of crazy characters.
Mhm.
We met a guy who was a rapper, and he said, "Oh, I'll take you. I know who you guys are, and
Uh-huh.
I'll take you to the sonideros." And there was reggaeton and there was cumbia and rock and roll and
Mhm.
salsa, and we danced and we ate and we drank. We went to see the Santa Muerte, which is very creepy, but it's a
Well, just
very
explain, just parentheses on the Santa Muerte. I mean, that's one
yeah,
of those things that you find, particularly in Mexico City, where you have people who adore this image of a skull, of a skeleton and a skull, and they're adoring death, basically.
yeah,
And they dress her up, and it's La Santa, it's a female, of course, and
yeah.
they adore this image, and you could snicker at it or laugh at people who do that, but it's serious business. People really believe in La Santa Muerte.
Yeah, and it's creepy in a way because this is the saint that protect criminals,
Right.
burglars, and drug dealers, and people that have been in jail, and they pray to the Santa Muerte so that
Hmm.
can have a good time in
Hmm.
jail, or when they come out, they go and thank the Santa Muerte, and they put money in the altar and they light candles. But
Oh.
the main person, that the woman that is in charge of this altar, she was very nice with us, and she
Hmm.
told us about the people that go there and stuff. So and once a year they take out the Santa Muerte, which is very big, and
Hmm.
they roll all around Tepito and Lagunilla, and
Right.
there's a big procession, and everybody's there
Well,
honoring Santa Muerte.
well,
So that was it.
the Santa, I mean, considering how well criminals do in Mexico, I guess, I think La Santa Muerte is, doing a good job. I can
She
understand
is.
why, people adore her the way they do is because, impunity in Mexico is pretty high, and it could be because of La Santa Muerte. That could be excuse, not that you're having competent authorities. So that's really interesting. I mean, have you found? I mean, just even recently, just how I'm, I'm surprised walking around Mexico City, how many foreigners are around. Have you noticed? I mean, it's
Yes.
just. I mean, it is, and it is not only in La Condesa, in these traditional La Condesa, La Roma. I mean, there's foreigners all over the place. I mean, and they really love living in Mexico City.
Yes, it is a great place to live right now for a lot of people from all around the world, especially United States. But actually talking about the pandemic, when we started to go out to restaurants and bars, and I started to go again to Condesa in Roma,
Right, right.
I was very impressed because there was like maybe it was just us Mexicans, and it was a lot of people from other places, Japan, and France, but especially the United States, it was very impressive, and it keeps going on. And there's a lot of people from a lot of places that are, in a way, making us see our own city in a different way.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, where do they go? What do they eat? What do they like? Mexico
Hmm.
City and stuff. So it's an interesting era for Mexico City, and well, and then you see a lot of them also in Tepito and Lagunilla.
So, in the adventures that you narrate in this book, which will would we be most surprised? I mean, I don't think anything about you surprises me.
Well,
I think I could expect almost anything, I guess, maybe. But anyway, um, well, because you and I have been talking, and I've had the chance to listen to your stories for the last 24 years. But what would be the most surprising story about you that we'll find in this book?
Well, I would say two things, Ana Maria. First, that a lot of people think that I am a very self-confident, and I'm everywhere, and I talk on the radio or TV, and I write, and I'm not. I'm a very insecure person, and I have a lot of different fears and phobias that make me really crazy. Like, for example, I have a great phobia for to worms. I am scared as hell. So there's a story about a worm in my room, and I
Uh-huh.
was like panicking, and I called the doorman and like, please help me. He thought it was maybe a snake in my room, but it
What do
was
you
just,
do when people are downing tequila with worms? I mean, do you
yeah,
got to
I
get
know.
drunk to be able to put up with that?
No, I can't. And sometimes, for example, the other day, and I tell this in the stories, I saw a green worm, and I called the doorman again, like, please help. There's a very, very big green worm here in my kitchen. And he came in very stressed, and he watched the worm,
Right.
and she said, Señorita, don't worry, it's a green bean. O sea, un ejote. It was a
It was a
vegetable.
vegetable.
Sí.
So he was killing him. He was
Yes.
killing the killer green beans.
Bean killer. Yes. And for example, there's another story that it wasn't fun at the beginning, but it was fun after when I spent the night in jail. Well, not in jail, but in El
It's
Torito.
it's
And
in it's where they it's in the drunk the drunk cell.
and I am a drinker, Ana Maria, you know that, but
But
I swear to God, I wasn't drunk. I never drink and drive because I
right.
know what drinking is about.
Well, and it because they're all over I mean, it is a reality in the last 15 years. I mean, you cannot drink and drive. It's just
And
period.
it's
I
a
mean,
good thing.
and and I think so. And the numbers show it, but it's you go out, um, you just have one or two cocktails and a wine and that's it. They will grab you and you
Yes.
have to go to El Torito, which apparently is a place where a lot of famous people end up, I guess,
Yes.
including you.
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, I had two glasses of wine, and I can handle two glasses of wine, and I was at 5 minutes from home, but I had bad luck, and I went, and I really believe, I truly believe in Torito because it has saved a lot of lives, and
Right.
you cannot, you have to spend the night there, or your 20 or whatever hours
How many
they
hours? It's
ask you.
24 hours, I think, right? You absolutely have to be there.
Yeah.
And then what
In,
happens?
In my case, because they give you exams and tests and stuff, and they said clearly you're not drunk, but the minimum time it's 20 hours. I spent
Mhm.
20 hours, but if you are really drunk, you can spend 48 or even more
Oh,
hours.
really? Hmm.
Yeah, if you are really like in a bad state, but it was 20 hours, and well, I wrote about that, and you know what? You say that I'm famous. I'm not that famous, but it did happen in Torito that an officer, very tough girl, she said, Mariana Hernandez, come here, and I'm like, yes, yes, of course, and you're like,
You're like, yes, ma'am.
yes, of course. And you even smile because you're scared. And
Right.
she put me in a different salon and she said, would you give me your autograph? Because
Oh
my
no.
aunt watches your TV show.
Oh no, that's crazy. That's so funny.
And I was
Well,
like, no,
yeah.
get me out of here. I don't want to sign your autograph. Just get. But I signed the autograph and I spent another 15
Another
hours.
thing. Yeah. Well, but and it's good that you talk about it. I mean, we're laughing about it, but you are a famous person, and a lot of famous people end up in El Torito, and you know what?
Yes.
They can't get out. I mean,
Nope.
it's
And
it's
it's good.
really hard. I mean,
Yes.
it's even if you're a son of a politician or you're a son of, the most important business person
Yeah.
in Mexico, it is really hard to get out. I mean, I don't know if you're one of those kids, maybe they'll send security to El Torito, but they really, to protect you if they need to. But they really do a good job in
Yes.
trying to make El Torito, the small bull,
Yeah, the small ball.
but the small bull, it's called Torito because it's in that area where there used to be bullfighting, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's my understanding. But yeah, it's a good lesson. It's a good thing, and I'm glad you're writing about it. And it's also a reminder that you shouldn't drink and drive. But it's
Yeah.
good.
And you know what, Ana Maria? I asked some officers there what were the worst experiences, and I thought like maybe very, very drunk women or men,
Right,
and they all agreed that the worst ones are the sons and daughters of politicians that they
right,
feel untouchable and they
right,
get very aggressive, and those are the
right.
worst for the people that are trying to keep the order in Torito. So don't get crazy because you're not gonna get out for being the son of a great
Okay.
politician or businessman.
Well, I did a reporting, I don't know about when they first started stopping people on the streets for drinking and driving, and it was relatively new. So I wanted to do a reporting on this, and we went and we were at the roadblock at 10:30 at night, and my producer and the guy with the camera was like, "Ay, Ana Maria, we're going to be here all night. It's only 10:30. It was like 9. No, excuse me, it was 9:30. At
Uh,
9:30, they don't stop people until 9:30. They had the first three crazy people
really?
who
Yeah.
bit the policeman and they kicked the policeman. I mean, the people are
Jesus.
just crazy. Yes, and we
Yeah.
had that on camera. And this woman is just like going after the police. And of course, since everybody in the car was drunk, there was nobody to take the car. So it was, and they bit one of the policemen and kicking, and they had to drag them into the car. I mean, people really go crazy when they're
Very.
drunk and they feel it's unfair. I think a lot has changed then, but boy, it's unflattering to see drunk people fighting the
Yes,
police.
crazy. It's very, very crazy. And I was fortunate enough to have a lot of girls that weren't drunk and weren't aggressive or crazy. But I know it can be very, very crazy. So and please don't drink and drive.
What else? Give us a couple more stories. I know you're going to be presenting the book, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's also there's one that they it gives a lot of cringe, if you know what I mean, to especially to men. And
Uh-huh.
it's a story about a boyfriend I had.
Hmm.
His nickname, I didn't write his name, that would be punch below the belt.
Right.
Uh, and the story is called El Rústico. How do you translate the
He's
rustic or
rusty. He's rusty, the rusty one.
yeah, he was like I don't know. He was always like living in an untidy place, and he was very possessive. And
Uh-huh.
and the stupid thing that it was that I said yes. Would you like to be my girlfriend? And I said yes.
Oh,
He
goodness.
he he was a sculptor. He did sculptures
Oh,
or um, toilets or basins. Or I mean, he was not really a famous sculptor, but I thought, well, he's a good man, and
um,
I'm used to very like the bad boys,
uh-huh.
very unkind and maybe bad
Mean,
boys in a way.
mean. They're mean. They can be
Yeah.
mean. Yeah.
And I'm always attracted to that kind of men. So I said, "Oh, he's nice. He's sensitive. He loves me. He always sends messages on WhatsApp, but not one message, but 20 messages a day. And
Oh, that's a bad sign. Yeah.
he did this voice notes that lasted like 8 minutes of nothing over nothing. And I
He
started to get
loved you,
crazy.
baby. He really loved you.
And then he started, for example, bringing his clothes, dirty clothes, to my house
Mm.
to do laundry. So I had to put my washing machine, my soap, and he was like, "There's not no soap anymore. We have to get more." And I'm like, "Will
Mhm.
you get your soap? You're washing
At
your
least,
laundry."
right.
See, and then he asked me if I could go to lunch with him, and I said yes, let's go to a romantic lunch. And he invited me just half a burger, not anymore, just half a burger. And I'm like, I'm starving, and no, just have a. And I started to go crazy, and but I forced it in a way that I tried so hard to do the right thing with the right man, and I suffered. And finally, I said, you know what? I don't want to be with you anymore.
I don't want to wash your clothes.
I don't want to wash your clothes. I don't want to meet anyone from your family anymore. And I am not interested in your sculpture and your stones. So let's, and finally he ended up breaking up with me. He did. He finally said, okay, I don't want to be with you. And he left.
Oh, that's so funny. Now, I'm telling you, we were speaking off air. This book sounds like a Netflix series. I mean, it's the name of the book is Mariana Chronicles, Las Crónicas de Mariana, right? And it's you're going to be presenting the book next week.
Huh?
Is it open to the public?
Yeah, everybody can go, and it's in a place called Foro El Tejedor, which is in Álvaro Obregón, 86.
Hmm.
There's a bookstore that's called El Péndulo,
Hmm.
and on the top there's a bar and a small venue, and I'm
Hmm.
going to be presenting with a guy that I think you know, Alejandro Rosas, and
Yes, yes.
Eduardo
Oh
Casar,
gosh.
who was my literature teacher, and
Hmm.
everybody can go there and grab a beer
Oh,
and be there.
and hang out. It sounds like a
Yeah.
great time. People don't do that anymore, present books. That's the other thing, which is interesting. And I think presenting, when an author has an opportunity to publicly present a book, it's like a
Yeah.
good it's a chance to kind of hang out and meet people and talk to other interesting people. I mean, if you're going to go see a book, if you're going to go watch or listen to a book presentation, you are either you know the author or you're interested in books. So that in itself would be like a cool place to hang out if you're single.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, and I like to like in a way give the behind the scenes
Right.
of these stories and there's some of them that are censored, and I'm going to tell everything if you go there. I'm not going to
Okay.
publish it, but I'm going to say it in the presentation.
Or you'll save it for the Netflix series. Mariana, Che, it's always great to have you on the show. I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity to speak to you about your new book. This is incredible. This is fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us. And I really appreciate you being on the show for the last 20 odd years. I mean, God, can you believe that?
It has been just fun and interesting, and again, Ana Maria, I'm very thankful, and it's always great to talk and laugh with you. It's
Oh, thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you very
I
much.
know. It's like, anyway, thank you so much, Mariana. Good luck on your book presentation on Monday. Once again, just remind everybody where it's going to take place, at what time.
7:30, Foro El Tejedor in Roma, en Álvaro Obregón, Crónicas Marianas.
And you have your radio show. I mean, let's just plug that too. Your weekend radio show.
Yeah, in Imagen, it's every Saturday at 8 o'clock. It's very ironic. The show is called ¿Qué hacer? And I never know what to do, but the show is called What to
Yeah,
Do.
this is, well, you always, I mean, that's what you always provide the greatest suggestions on living in Mexico. Thank you so much, Mariana. We're going to go to
Thank you, Ana
commercial
Maria.
break. Thank you. Good luck. We're going to go to commercial break. I'm Ana Maria Salazar, and you're listening and watching Living in Mexico. Don't go away.